If you've ever thought about starting a side hustle, one thought that might have held you back was, why should I invest my time and resources in something that very well might fail? In this video, I'll discuss why starting a side hustle is the ultimate investment in ourselves, and why we should strongly consider starting one even if we already have a very high-paying job. I'll talk about the benefits of starting a side hustle, the stability that comes from it, the opportunities for personal and professional development, and also the creative fulfillment we might get from pursuing something on the side. I'll also touch on the common obstacles we might have and how to overcome them, including the lack of time, lack of money, and fear of failure. I had wanted to start a side hustle since graduating college, but I, for so long, didn't really know what type of business I wanted to start. And the pressure of wanting to start a business led to so many months of inaction, to the point where I decided to just rip off the band-aid and do something. And so I leaned back into what I knew, which was tutoring. I tutored for many years before college and even a little bit into college. And I knew with tutoring, I was trading my time for money, which wasn't what I ultimately wanted to stay doing. But I decided I could just start with tutoring and I could build from there. And in taking this first step, I realized that one of the main benefits of starting a side hustle was the stability that it gives. I think relying on a single source of income for many of us can be very risky. A single source of income for most of us looks like having a full-time job where we are employed. But if we lose our jobs or the industry we're in faces a downturn, we could be left with no stream of income, and that leaves us scrambling to find another job before our benefits run out. So by diversifying our income streams, we can spread out our risk and potentially avoid the negative consequences of relying on a single source of income. Not only that, we can also potentially earn more money and have more control over our financial situation. So even if we just take our first step, and that first step could be a side hustle where we trade our time for money, that experience can help us learn how to evolve our side hustle into something more sustainable where our limitation isn't time. Diversifying your income streams can lead to new opportunities for personal and professional growth. When we pursue different income streams, we definitely gain new skills. We might meet new people. We also naturally explore new interests in ways we might not have if we only stuck with our traditional 9-to-5. I think all of these factors make us more valuable for our main jobs. Many companies, when they look for a good candidate, are probably looking for someone who takes initiative and is a self-starter. In starting a side hustle, there's probably many challenges we have to face in order to find success, however we might define success. And these are stories that are great to have in our back pocket for when we interview for roles as we progress in our career. I took an entrepreneurship course in college where we had to flush out a startup idea and write a business plan for it. I ended up taking that business plan into several different pitch competitions, which I then put into my resume. When I was interviewing for different product management roles, I often talked about that experience. So when we have projects that have helped us develop and grow, those are stories that we can share with potential future employers as well. Aside from personal growth, pursuing income streams outside of our main job can provide a creative outlet and a sense of fulfillment. On this channel, for example, I'm developing it for personal learnings and also to build my brand. I can talk about whatever I want, and I can practice product management in a more direct to consumer way, where the product I'm putting out are my videos, and this encompasses the thumbnails, the scripts, video editing techniques to increase engagement. All of this is compared to my more enterprise-focused 9-to-5 product management role, which is very different to a direct-to-consumer product management role because the audiences are inherently very different. So in my journey with my side hustle, I like that I've carved out the space to learn more of the quote-unquote direct-to-consumer product management. I know that there's many obstacles we might face when we think about starting a side hustle, so I'll talk about a few of mine and how I overcame them. The first one being the lack of time. There's an app in my phone that gives me a summary of how much time I spend on my phone. It breaks it down by what app I use the most and how much time I spend on the app itself. When I realized how much time I was spending on social media and how little I was getting out of it, I realized that I would much rather spend this time building something that could pay me back in the future. It's been a work in progress, and I'm not saying I'm never on social media anymore because I definitely still am, but over the years I've learned to prioritize my time, block my calendar, and be very protective of my time in general. Sometimes we don't have the capital to invest in the side hustle, and that's super fair. For some side hustles, like in my case tutoring, I didn't really have to spend any money for that actually. But if it's something else like building a business, usually that might require more investment. I find usually that that if we don't have money to invest, usually we can make up for that by investing our time. If you don't have any money to invest in the core components of your business, maybe that's, for example, building a website. That might mean that you have to learn how to build a website from scratch as compared to outsourcing it. Every situation is different, obviously, but if you have a full-time job, sometimes it might be worth cutting back on other areas of your life to be able to invest more money into your side hustle. But again, that's up to you to decide if the risk is worth the investment for you. And fear of failure is definitely something that held me back for a while before I thought about starting my modeling and my YouTube side hustle. This isn't something I necessarily consciously thought about, but thinking back, I realized that if I talked about my side hustle to my friends, they would naturally ask about it later on, and I would feel some sort of self-inflicted pressure to make it successful. But then I realized I was probably catering more to the outside world than to myself. Recently, a thought process that helped me get over this is thinking, what does failure look like if it happens? I realized that failure isn't as bad when I know exactly what I could be expecting. For example, my worst case scenario for failing YouTube is 2 years in, I don't monetize, no one cares about my videos, I've spent all my money on my gear, I've spent all my time on learning how to edit, and to people observing, that could very well look like failure. But I realize that to myself, it's not failure because I will have tried very hard and I will have learned a lot in the process. If it's starting a business or taking on work as a freelancer or maybe taking another job, more experiences in general means more learnings. Maybe you learn what you do or what you don't like, but all of these experiences can help educate our future decisions. And these experiences are ones that we wouldn't have had if we didn't try our side hustles. Now that you know why you should consider starting a side hustle, I think you would really like this video here where I talk about how to start a side hustle if you're a complete beginner. I touch on how to flesh out what you want to invest your time in and how to get over the fear of starting. I'll see you there.